Hello again everybody and a very warm welcome back to the channel. The Kuro 787-8 freeware enhancement based on and requiring the 787-10 in Premium Deluxe Microsoft Flight Simulator continues to receive some really nice updates actually from the Kuro team, and today we'll have a little look at the new version 2.1, covering new texture fonts in the cockpit, new MCP fonts as well, which we will take a little look at. Improvements to the beacon lights, which we can see already. Previously the version was bouncing off the wing textures and the engines as well. We can kind of still see it, but it's massively reduced and actually really quite nicely improved. We're preparing for a flight from Athens back to London Heathrow in our Osprey Airways Rolls-Royce Trent powered 787-8, and we're going to go through a number of the other features and tweaks and improvements that the Kuro project team have made to massively improve this aircraft even more beyond the huge improvements that they offered in version 2. Hit like and subscribe, of course, share your thoughts down in the comments below. And naturally the links for this will be down in the description too, but if you get stuck, go to flightsim.to and search Kuro, K-U-R-O, and you'll find it downloadable there. As a bit of a pre-note, we mentioned it in the previous version, but it's a question that I'm continuing to be asked. You do have to have Premium Deluxe edition of Microsoft Flight Simulator for this to be able to work, and that is because it uses the 787-10 from Premium Deluxe to make all the magic happen. A few of the things that they've done within the flight model then. They've firstly reworked the aircraft dimensions based on piano simulation software. Personally, I don't know what that is, but it's in the changelog. They've also reworked the default payload stations based on the British Airways cabin layout, so slightly smaller capacity. And with that, they've also then reworked wing and centre fuel tank positions too. They've made some tweaks to the flap and slat configuration. They've reworked those within the flight model. And they've integrated some improved wing flex. As we line up then, we can discuss another feature. And that is steering and bouncing on the ground. They've stated in the changelog that that has now been fixed, but of course it may be completely dependent on any weights that you might have and your own centre of gravity when you're configuring for your flights. It might also be dependent on the hardware that you're using, so if you've got it set up really nicely, you won't experience any of these problems anymore. Steering for me is a little bit too brash at times still, but in the main, positive improvements most certainly, and the bouncing with certain braking pressures doesn't seem to be present anymore, so really good job from those guys with that. So without further ado, let's get airborne and have a look at a few more of these final tweaks. You'll notice on the right hand side on the MCP the fonts have been changed and improved to kind of try and match the real aircraft that little bit more. You'll also notice now auto thrust VNAV, those lights that are illuminated currently are now white instead of orange. Another really nice improvement to adding accuracy and realism to the 787-8. Rotate. V2. Following the flight directors. Positive rate gear up. That now nicely brings us on to another one of the improvements. Flight level 430. Previously, version 2, you weren't able to actually tune that in. However, now you can. You can do that inside the system, the MCDU, the FMS, and actually fly to flight level 430. Really good work. One of the other tweaks that they've made is a improvement to the lift coefficient versus angle of attack table. And while we're looking at the wing views, another one that we mentioned a little earlier on, we kind of touched upon it. was improvements to the wing flex. Now, if we zoom in over here to the tips of the wings, you can see the slight bounce that you would recognise if you have flown in a 787-8 in the past. It can be really mild at times, but then in more turbulent conditions, fairly bouncy. The flex on the actual wings from the outside looking forwards looks a little bit less severe. That was one of the comments made and certainly observed in the previous version. The wing flex was really quite high at times. That looks a lot more natural in relation to the wing flex of that Dreamliner. Look at that. And finally, just to touch upon it, we're flying a bit of a unique departure out of Athens, but they've made improvements to the flight director overshoot on turn fixes. Haven't really been able to display it here, however, you will find now that the flight director will handle turns a lot more neatly. And there you have it. The latest update to the Kuro Freeware Boeing 787-8 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hit like and subscribe, share it with everybody on the forums, and I'll see you for our live stream in the very near future. Take care, thanks for watching.